right. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone, from wherever it is that you are watching me from. Thank you so much for joining today. Thank you so very much for joining. My name is Damilari. I will be your favorite host, as we have been doing, as we have been doing since how many days now? Today is day nine. Day nine. But it seems that people are already getting tired of learning this new skill, and they don't want to. Maybe they load is too much for them. Okay, maybe perhaps we'll give a whole of next week for us to rest and practice. Perhaps it is too much for us to have 4 weeks of continuous learning. So maybe we should just stop it at the end of these 2 weeks, since for us to be able to rest our head and practice what we have learned, then build the project, then start submitting the project for the next 2 weeks. Maybe we should just do that. Okay. Today I will the video is about I'll be building part of our project. Then I will teach us something new again today, as we have been doing every day. Today there is power and there is network, so there's going to be quiz also. I just hope that people are to take part in the quiz, because the quiz is live. There is no, it's not going to be active. It's not going to be recordedly. You are not going to be participating in it while with the recorded version. It's just live here on the screen. All right, without wasting our time, we are looking at our VS Code screen and our finished project, the one I built like 2 or 3 weeks ago, like 3 weeks ago now. I built this one 3 weeks ago for the purpose of this training, so that I can be able to show us how the finished project will look like. But there are still so many things to be learned, and there are still so many things to be learned, because I'm very sure that none of your projects can look like this for now. None of them. Even the one we are building, that I'm building for you here, I'm still going back to change some things after I'm just waiting to just introduce you to some things. Then I will go back to that particular portion of the code and change some things there, so that you can now see how it was before and how it is now. And you can be able to learn the difference between the two, so that you can be able to appreciate each of the things that we are learning. But notwithstanding, no problem. We will leave it the way it is. We will leave it at this rudimentary phase that it is, with our CSS like this, so that the load will not be too much for people. All right, today I'll be teaching us something in CSS that we call grid. We call it grid. Grid, that is GRID. GRID. Okay, so let me spell it here so that we can be able to see it. Let me spell it so that we can be able to see what we are talking about. Where will I put today's code? Let me put today's code under the section here, under latest product. I'm going to be talking about what we call grid today. Grid. Now, what is grid? Grid talks about CSS. Actually, it's not HTML, it is CSS. And of course, when we talk about CSS, we use CSS for whatever it is we have placed inside our HTML codes. So if we say grid, we are already familiar with, they are like twin, grid and flex. We have been using flex for the last how many days now? For the last 3 or 4 days or so, we have been using flex. Let me show you where the flex code is. We used flex here when we said our row should have display of flex, and then we use flex also when we say flex wrap should wrap, and then we used flex basis also for call for here. When we say this, like we are setting the width, flex basis is like the width. So if you have made the container to have display of flex, you can use flex basis to set the width of the children, of each of the children that you have in the flex container. So that is the flex basis for you, just like the width, to specify how wide each of the child inside the row will look like. So you are saying the call for now should take 22% of the container, which is row. All right, so that is flex. Now, apart from flex, there is also another one called grid, which is what I want to teach us today, and we will see how it works at the end of today. Now, to be able to demonstrate this, let me put some objects on the screen. Some objects on the screen. Let me start with would I like to put this thing on top or below so that I won't be scrolling. Let me put it on top. On top, so that the scrolling will not be too much for me. Let me put it on the, I've not even go I've not gone live. So to be able to go live, to be able to see the browser, I'm going to click go live there, and then I'll be putting it on top of my button here. On top of my button is where, on top of my form is where I'm going to be putting today's code. All right. Let me drop some things on the screen so that we can now use grid to arrange them. You know, flex is used to arrange things also. Grid is also used to arrange things, just like flex. But there are cases where they cannot be used interchangeably. And there are cases where they can be used interchangeably also. They will give you the same result. But generally speaking, grid works in one direction. It's just one direction. It's just from left to right. While flex, you can use flex to arrange both vertically and horizontally. Flex is multi-directional, that is bi-directional. You can do vertical and horizontal, while grid in its own case is just single direction, that is from left to right. Okay, let me drop some things here that we can now use grid to arrange. Let's start with what will I drop? Let me drop a div with a class of box1. So this is the shortcut for div of class of box1. You already know that if I type div and I press tab, it's going to give me the div tag. So I put dots there to show that I want it to have a class, and I put the class name there of box1. So when I press tab now, it's going to give me a div with a class of box1, just like that. Can you see? Okay, let me put a comment here to say I'm explaining grid, the grid system. Okay, end of grid system. Okay, so this is the first div, class of box1. So let me just duplicate it like that. I have three boxes now. 3 boxes. I'm going to let me change their class name to box2 and this one box3. Right, box3. Now let me wrap all these 3 boxes inside a particular div so that I can use that div to control it. Okay, so I'm going to come here and say a div of boxers. A div of boxers. I've opened it. So I'm just going to cut everything here and paste it inside the div of class of boxer. So it's going to look like this. So I have a wrapper which is boxers, and then inside the boxers I have 3 boxes: box1, box2, and box3. Now we all know that the flex that we normally apply, we usually apply it to the wrapper. We apply the flex to wrapper. So the same thing is going to happen to the grid. We also apply the grid to the wrapper. So the wrapper in this case is boxers. Boxers is the wrapper. So if boxers is the wrapper, let's see. I'm going to pick it now so that I can know. Okay, before I go, let me style box1, style box2, and style box3 so that we can know, so that we can be seeing them on the screen the way they are. I'm going to go to my style.css and I'm going to write some styles for box1. Let me start with box1. Box1, I'm going to say, give me width. Let the width be 100 pixel. Then the height also should be 100 pixel also. The height will be 100 pixel. Should be 100 pixel also. Then let me give it a color so that we can be able to see it on the screen. Background color is FF523B. That's the color it will give you. If you don't like this color, just bring your mouse over this color, this color code. It will open the color box for you. Inside the color box, you can select which part of this code, of this color line you want. And when you find anyone you want, you can use this second tag here, this second bar here, to show how transparent you want it to be. If you want it to be very transparent, you can come down. If you want it to be thick, solid, you can go up. And then, so that's how to choose color. And then after you have done that, you can now choose any of the circle, any of this, click on any of the dot that you are seeing here, and the color will be the color that you are picking right here, right now. So the color I want to use for this one is what I've picked, FF523B. Okay, that is box 1 for us. Let me see if I can put border so that you can further reinforce how to apply border. Border, you start with the size of the width, the size of the border, maybe 2 pixels, and then it can be solid, it can be dotted. So let me use dotted this time. 2 pixel dotted. Then you put the color of the border. So let me put the color as black. 2 pixel dotted black, and you can see it on the screen right there. So that is 2 pixel dotted black for box 1. For box 2, yesterday we talked about inline styling. So I'm going to be using inline styling to do this one. I'm going to be using inline styling to style box 2 so that we can, at least it can, by the time we do it often and often like that, it will reinforce our learning. So let me try and put I want to use inline styling for box 2 now. Inline styling for box 2 instead of coming to my CSS file to write the one for box 2. Okay, how do I do it? Inside box 2, before, still within the closing, still within the opening tag. Remember, we have the opening tag here, and then we have the closing tag immediately after it. We don't have anything in between the div. We are not writing anything. As you can see that it is empty. Okay, so before the end of the opening tag, I'm going to come and put style there. We talked about this one yesterday. If you remember, we said we have 3 ways of inputting style to our work. We can use external style sheet, or we use internal style sheet, or we use inline. This one I'm doing now is inline style sheet, inline styles. Okay, so when you type style, it's going to give you this one. Just press enter like this, and then you can begin to put your styles inside this quotation, inside these double quotes. The style I want to give box 2 is similar to that of box 1. So let me say I want to set the I want to set the background color. Let me set the background color to something like this one, brown. Then I will set, you can check the notation very well. After the property, you put colon, then you put the value that you want. Then at the end of that value, there must be this semicolon to show that you are through with that particular formula that you are writing. You can also write another one. For example, I want to write width. The width of this one also is going to be 100 pixel, and also the height is going to be 100 pixel also. 100 pixel also. So that is the height, and that is the width, and that is the background color. I'm going to save it now to see it on the screen being affected, and then I'm seeing it right there. Let me change the color from brown to something else, that will be so distinct, and then something darker. Okay, let's choose that one. Save. So we are seeing that one now on the screen. Of course, the default behavior, the default display behavior of anything you are dropping in your UI is user interface. Sorry about the this one is grid, not grease. It's grid system. Okay, if I use terminologies that you don't understand and you want me to give you the full meaning, you can always put it in the chat. I will occasionally go to the chat to see what you are asking me to give the full meaning of, and then I will let you know. If I don't know it and I said it, I will let you know that I don't know it, or I will look for the answer for you right now on the internet. All right, so UI, I just said UI now. UI means user interface, and it means it represents your web browser. That is your user interface. If you are building a project, what you are building is actually web. You are building the user interface as a front-end developer. If you are a back-end developer, you are not building the user interface. You are working on the logic that works on the server. But we are working on the user interface here, at least the elementary part of it. Okay, so the default value of the default way that elements are arranged in the UI is to place them on top of each other. So if box 1 is here and box 2 is here, then they will just stay on top of each other like that. It does not matter if I take this one away now. If I take this one and I place it beside this one, it will still stay under each other like this. So we have to understand that one, that is the default value. So let's give box 3. How do we style box 3? We have used external style sheet for box 1. We have used inline style sheet for box 2. Let's use internal style sheet for box 3. And for internal style sheet, we are going to scroll down to where before the end of body, and we are going to be putting our style tag inside here. Style. So inside the style tag, I will be selecting a class called box. Is it box 3 or box -3? I can't remember again. Let me quickly go back and check it. It's not a problem if you can't remember. As long as you know how to go back there and check. Okay. So it is box 3 straight, no hyphen in between. So dot box 3. And then I will open my curly brace. I will give similar values, similar properties that I gave to the first two. So let me start with background color. Background color for this one, I want it to be, I will change it. Let me choose a different one. By the time you put your mouse on this one, it will open this color box for you, and then you can begin to look for anyone that you want. Let's say which one is far away now. Let me use this one. This one is a bit far away. Okay. Transparency. Let me choose this one. Let's see this one on the screen. Background color, and then at the end of background color, I will choose height. Then height will be, of course, 100 pixels, so that they will all have the same height. And then after height has 100 pixels, I'm going to set the width also to 100 pixels. 100 pixels. It also to 100 pixels. 100 pixels. Okay. Height 100 pixel, width 100 pixel, and so let me save it now. I did not put border to this one. Okay, I did not put border to this one. Let me save it now, and then we are seeing it on the screen. So let me apply border to this one, to box 3. Border equal to, let me use 4 pixels now. 4 pixel. Instead of dotted, let me use solid. We also have dashed. I think you have seen solid before. So let me put dashed, 4 pixel, dashed, and if you want a color for it, you can specify color. So let me use a color of coral. 4 pixel dashed coral. By the time you save it, you are going to be seeing what you are seeing on the screen right now. Let me be sure that you are seeing my screen. Yes, you are seeing my screen. You are seeing my screen. All right. So those are the 3 boxes that we are going to be having now. We have been able to place them in the UI. They are staying on top of each other, but a lot of times you don't want elements to stay like this, because all these spaces to the right, what do you want to use them for? You don't want to, and there is no other thing. There's no way to put things here if you don't position them using your CSS. So we have been using flex to do this, but now I'm going to use grid. And maybe after I finish using grid, if I still have time, I will remove the grid, then use flex again, so that you can see that you can use them interchangeably at some point in time. Now, if I want to use grid on this one, I will not be affecting. Let me go back to where the items are being positioned. This is the first one. This is the second one. This is the third one. There is something wrapping them together, which is this div of boxers. I will not be attacking each of them, because if I want to use flex or grid, you have to target their wrapper. What is it that is wrapping them together? It is that wrapper that you apply flex on or grid on. Flex and grid work on wrapper, and then the moment you apply it to the wrapper, it's automatically work on every container, every child of that wrapper. Now, so the container for these 3 guys is these boxers. So I'm going to be selecting this class of boxers now, and I will use it to be able to arrange these guys that we are seeing on the screen. I will be using my external style sheet for this one. There is no reason. I just decided to use external style sheet. You can actually use anything you want. So the class name is boxers. The class name is boxers, and then I'm going to be opening my curly braces. Curly braces. Remember the name? Curly braces. Okay. Curly braces. I hope you people are not mixing the names together. These are called curly braces. Curly braces. And we have this one called parentheses. Parentheses. and these ones are called square brackets. They have different different use, especially in programming, in JavaScript programming now, for example. They have different use, so you cannot mix them together. There are times we use this, there are times we use this, there are times we use this in programming. So please learn the names. Learn the names. Perhaps it should be part of our quiz self, so that it can be entrenched into our learning. So display is the property that we normally use to set flex. You remember, to set flex, we say display is flex. It is similar for grid also. So if it is similar for grid, so I can just say display, and then the moment I put colon there, it gives me all this option, and then I will just choose grid here. You can see grid here, grid here. We have different ways to display things, different ways to display. So, but the one that we are focusing on is this grid now. Display of grid. You put your semicolon at the back. When you do display of grid, let me save it so that we can see whether something is happening on the screen or not. I will save it now, and then we see that nothing is happening yet on the screen. Nothing. Why is nothing happening? Well, there is no reason why nothing is happening. It's just that we have only specified what we want. We have not specified how we want it to be. So when you are using grid, unlike flex, that the moment you do display of flex is going to affect it immediately and place them side by side immediately. Grid will need one more instruction to know what to do. For example, this is what I'm saying. Let me change this grid now to flex. I've changed it to flex now, and then I'm going to save it, and then you see that immediately it arranges them by the side. I can now begin to give it gap and say let the gap be 20 pixels, and I will save it, and then it's going to space them like that. But we have had enough of flex, and we are going to be using grid now. Let's let's not get too familiar with flex that we don't know how to use grid. A day will come when grid is the only thing that can do that thing that you want to do, and then you have to fix it. So display is grid, like we said. Once you do that, you save it, and notice that nothing is happening on the screen yet, because there is still one more thing that you need to set. What is this thing that we need to set? Is to say how many rows and columns do you want. For this one, I have only 3 items. I have 3 items, right? So it makes sense to say, let me have 3 columns on the screen, 3 columns on a row. So one will be here, one will be here, and another will be at the far end here. So let me have something like that. So to be able to do that, I'll come here and say grid. As you begin to type grid, it's going to give you all these options here. The one you are looking for is grid template columns, because you want to specify how many columns you want for this particular wrapper. So I will select grid template columns. When I select grid template columns, there are other options that is giving me here. It is also usable, but I don't want us to go into that one now. I just want us to just come here and say grid template columns. Okay, how do I want it? Let me have one fraction. I said I fraction. One fraction. That FR means fraction. So one fraction, then one fraction. You see that there is no comma in between them. It's just space. One fraction space, one fraction space, one fraction space. What is the meaning of one fraction? It means divide. It is the number of one fraction that you have here that the column will have. As it is now, it's going to have 3 columns because I'm having 3 one fractions. So if I want it to have four columns, I'm going to say another one fraction. So this one is going to have one fraction. So what's the meaning of one fraction? One fraction means divide it into equal parts among all the items that we have in a row. So since I have divided it into 3 equal parts now, one fraction, one fraction, one fraction, then I can just save it and see what will happen on the screen. Can you see what is happening on the screen now? Okay. So grid is making, it has divided the, okay. I'm seeing a question. Can I explain the difference between relative and absolute properties? Okay, I'm coming there now. Don't worry, I'm coming there now. Sheila Temindayo, you are welcome. And Yatin Rana, you are welcome also. Zion, you are welcome. You're welcome. Thank you for joining. So I'm going to be explaining absolute and relative after now. Oh, apparently this person has gone beyond the person has gone beyond our current where we are, but I will still answer your question. Okay. So grid template columns, one fraction, one fraction, one fraction, divided it into 3. So what happens if I have 3 items, 3 children inside, like I have three children now inside the boxer. I have 3 children inside the boxer, and I now use a style. I now say grid template column is just one fraction, one fraction. What will happen? I've not saved it. I just typed it there. I want to save it now. I want you to picture in your mind what will happen. You have 3 children in the wrapper. In this wrapper of boxers, 3 children are there, but you created a space for only 2 of them. What is going to happen to the third one, which is this blue one? What is going to happen is that it's going to move to the next one, to the row below them. So here is what is going to happen. I want to save it now. I've saved it, and this is what you are having now. It's going to move that one to the next column, which is on the next 2 row, and then it continues like that, like that. You have already said you don't need more than 2 columns by specifying this one. Okay, for now, I think one fraction will still be fine for you. But let's see, there is a way, assuming you want 10 columns, for example. Will you now be typing one fraction, one fraction, one fraction, one fraction, one fraction, until you get to 10? Okay, there is a shortcut to be able to specify the number of columns that you want, especially if you want equal width for all of them. If you want them to have equal width, okay, if you want them to have equal width, there is a way to write to reduce the number of code you write instead of having to repeat one fraction, one fraction, one fraction, one fraction. So we use this function called repeat. As you begin to type it, when you begin to type RE, it gives you this one. And by the time you read what they put here, you understand that is what it wants to do for you. It said it represents a repeated fragment of the track list, allowing a large number of columns or rows that exhibit a recurring pattern to be written in a more compact form. I think the English is too much, but don't worry. What it means is that instead of you writing one fraction in many places, you can easily do it here by clicking on this repeat. It's a function. It's a function because it has this parenthesis here. In programming, anytime you see, we use parentheses to mark function or to call function or to invoke them. So when you see this parenthesis like this in front of any word, it is a function. It's a function invoker. It invokes the function. So inside this thing, you are going to specify. It's going to take 2 arguments. Arguments are the things that we put inside function so that the function can know how to run. So repeat. Inside repeat will take 2 arguments. The first one is the number of rows, the number of columns that you want. For example, let's say I want 4 columns, and then you want to specify the width of those columns. Remember, we have been using one fraction because we want equal width for all of them. So one fraction is going to be dividing the space that we have on the screen into 4, and then give each space to each item that we have. But in this case now, I'm creating four columns, whereas I have only 3 items on the screen. Okay, so what's going to happen? Can you picture in your head what is going to happen? Picture in your head what's going to happen. So this is what is going to happen. As you have pictured, you will see that the 3 elements will stay, and then there will be a space for another one that is not available. So let me save it now so that we can see it on the screen. And now I've saved it. As I've saved it, for you to be sure that it has a space for another one, so I'm going to come here and do another div of class, another div of box 4. Let me still call it box 3. Let me just save it like that. And then you will see it that it can still accommodate it right there because we have set repeat to 4 and 1 fraction. What if I want more than 4 columns? It's very easy. Just change this 4 to what you want, and then you will have this one. Mind you, it's trying, because you have set the width of each of the boxes to 100 pixels, it will still try to manage the space such that it can still accommodate 100 pixels, and then on in 7 places. So it did that by reducing the spaces inside them, I mean between them. Okay, so let me go back to a reasonable value, which is that 4. 4 give us this one. Okay, now assuming I want to what else can I do? Okay, there are other functions inside this grid, but honestly for the beginning part, I don't want you to worry at all about about those other functions using grid. I don't want you to worry about them at all. All I want you to know now is that you can also use grid to make things stand side by side in the UI, just like we can use flex to make things stand side by side in the UI. For flex, the moment you say display is flex, like this, the items become, let me take this one out. Let me take these 2 out. The moment you say, okay, the 4 boxes are like that now. The moment you say display of flex like this and save it, the items become staying beside each other immediately. And then you can use gap, the gap property, to specify what happens, I mean, how much gap you want in between each item. Okay? Apart from, so if you are using flex, it takes effect right now immediately. But if you are using grid, you will need, apart from using display of grid now, I want to open this grid for you so that I can re-emphasize what I said the last time, that display of grid alone will not show anything on the screen. It will not show as if it's working. But when you now add grid template columns and put either one fraction, or repeat and then the number of columns you want and then one fraction, it will now take effect on the screen. Okay, let me save now, and then you are seeing what you are seeing right now. Okay, someone asked a question in the chat. The person is asking, can I explain the difference between relative and absolute properties? Yes, I can explain. Now, relative and absolute properties are also used to position items in the UI. And honestly speaking, it is very, very important to know how to use them, because there are times that you will not be able to use any other thing apart from using absolute and relative values to position the item. Let's assume that this is an image. Okay, let me bring an image. We have an image here, right? We have an image here. Let me bring the image up. Let me introduce the image here. Okay, let me bring the image inside one of these boxes. Let me bring the image inside one of the box. Okay, let me use box 2. I'm using box 2 now. I want to bring an image inside this. So I'm going to open up box 2 now. Don't forget, I'm trying to explain absolute and relative values. Inside this box 2, let me put an image there. I will use my img tag, and then I'm going to specify where the image is coming from using the src attribute. So /images/ the image I want to use is that is that sports people, and that sport people is what I don't know what the sport people is. So it's not logo, and it's not, I think it's image 1. Let me save image 1. Let me save image 1. It's coming. Okay, good. It is image 1. All right. Now I want to put it inside this green something. So I have to specify the size, make the size so small so that so let me have a class for this image, and then I'll be able to make it so small that it can stay inside the image. Class equal to image absolute, image ABS. So let me come to image ABS here. Class image ABS. ABS means absolute. I'm just trying to let you so that I can remember what it means when when I'm trying to just read. So image absolute, I want to make it so small that it can stay inside this box, inside this green box here. What do I do? Let me say I want let me first of all reduce the width to let's say width of 100%. I will save it already, and then it's already inside it just by reducing the width to 100%. Now, if I want to put another text inside this same box, precisely on top of the player, maybe I want to write his name. I don't know the name of this player. I don't know, but let's assume that the name is Ronaldo. I'm sorry, pardon me, I don't know the name. So if you know the name and you can put it in the chat, I will check it and use it. But for now, let me assume that the guy is Ronaldo. So I want to type Ronaldo name inside here. You will think that if I just come here and I type under the image, right? Still inside box 2. This is box 2. This is the div of box 2. So still inside it, under the image, if I come under the image like this and I put, let me put a paragraph tag there and I say Ronaldo, and I save it, you will expect it to be inside the box, but it is not inside the box again. Why? The reason is because you have used this image, you have placed this image as an inside the box. So to be able to put any other thing there, you will now need to use this positioning that we are talking about now. So I want this Ronaldo to show up on top of the and here. I want it to be on the and, actually, precisely. And that is when we now need relative and absolute. So the first thing you need to do when you want to use relative and absolute value is to set what the parent will be, and that parent must have relative. For now, don't bother yourself about absolute. Just know that the parent of what you want to, the parent container that you want to contain the two items you are trying to position now must have a class of relative. So relative is the point of reference that you want to use. Yes, let's use it that way. Relative is the point of reference, the div or the wrapper or the container reference that you want to use. It is from there that you want to set the positioning of the item that you want to position. In my case now, this is the one I want to position. This P of Ronaldo here is what I want to position. Let me change the font size so that it can be very, very visible. It can be very visible. Style, you remember inline style, font size. So this is the one that I want to change. I want to change its position, and I want it to be inside this box. So their parent is this div. Their parent is this div. It is this div that contains the image and the P. So it is that parent that must have the class of relative. It is a class that you apply to. You apply the class. You apply the property to the class. So I'm going to go to my CSS now, or where I did box 2. I did the box 2 here. Okay, it was inline. So box 2 is inline. So I'm going to come to the end here and say, okay, I want to add another one. I want to say position. We have been using display before. Display is flex, display of grid now. Now, this one, the question that this person is asking requires us to use what we call position. So you want to say, I want this Ronaldo to be in a different position than it is right now. I want it on top of this. But before you can do that, you have to identify where the parent is. What will be the parent of what you want to set? The parent is this div of box 2. And that parent, we must make it to be relative. So let me say position. I've already picked position. And for you to see the different options that it is going to give you, once you click on position now, position is going to give you all these options here. There are other options there that you can actually try your hand on and see how they work. But I'll be working on absolute and relative this evening. Absolute and relative this evening. So because this is the container, this is the wrapper, the parent of what we want to set, I'm going to be making it relative. With that, this becomes the point of reference to whatever it is that I want to set I want to set inside it. For example, I would like to set this P, and then it will be moving with respect to this box. I will show you how now. If you are still confused, don't worry. I understand why you are confused, But by the time I begin to do it now, by the time I begin to set the values, you will understand it better. Now, I've already set my the positioning value for the parent as relative. This P that I want to move now, I will now make it absolute. I will now say this P, let me take the position to be, the position will be absolute, like this. I have not saved it yet. I've not saved it. But when I save it now, what will happen is that it's going to go to the corner of this parent and stay there. That is what should happen, except if there is a problem somewhere. So I'm going to save it now. I will save it, and then it is not going there. Okay, it's not going there. But there is one more thing that you can do. After you set position of absolute, you can also decide, you can also determine from that. You remember that this green box, it has a corner now. This is the corner. It has left here. It has left, it has right, it has top, it has bottom. So if you want your Ronaldo to be you want your Ronaldo to be at the top left here, it will be top position 0, that is 0 pixel from top and 0 pixel from left. So this is how we write that one. I've already picked position as absolute. Then I will pick top. The top value now is going to be 0, and the left value is also going to be 0. When I do that, I've already specified where I am picking it from. And that is how Ronaldo has moved from where it was before, and now it's writing on the image itself using positioning. So that's how you can write on top of another. I can place anything on top of another now. Normally things will not stay on top of each other. They will not stay. So you use this relative and absolute to position the items on top of each other so that they can give you the effect that you want. If I want it to come down a bit, I can increase the top by saying, instead of 0, let me use 10 pixel. Top 10 pixel. When I save it, it will come down a little bit like that. If I want it to come down more, I can say top 30 pixels and I will save it. Then it comes down a little bit more. For the left, if I want it to come inside a bit, I can say left, make the left 10 pixels instead of 0. So it comes inside like that. Let me change the color of that Ronaldo so that we can see we can see it very well. Color. Remember, to change the text color, we use the word color. And for the color for this one, I'm going to be choosing, let me choose red. Let me choose red, and then I will use semicolon to finish that definition I was writing. And then you will be saying it that way. I hope that explains. So let me explain again now. It's going to be calculating the time, the space, all this space that we are putting here from top and left. It will be with respect to the relative that we pick. It will be with respect to this relative here, to the div with relative. So if we don't select this one as relative, it's going to pick the body as the relative. Assuming you don't have this one, it's going to pick with respect to the body, which is the top left corner of the screen. So it's going to start calculating it from the top left corner of the screen. But I want it to start calculating it from here, from this box. So I make this box my relative. And then once I make this box my relative, I can have absolute inside it, and I can use top and left or bottom to position whatever it is I want to position anywhere I want it. I hope that explains your question, Yatin Rana. Okay. All right. If there is no more question about that, I think we have learned enough today. Let's go into our project and do something before we now go into our quiz. I hope you are ready for our quiz today. Our quiz is ready today, and I hope Slido will not mess up. If Slido messes us up, well, it is on you, because you are the one that said you don't want Kahoot again. So I went back to Slido to use Slido for us. I hope they will not mess up. All right, let's go. We are going to our project, and we are going to be adding some things to it today. Remember, a lot of these things that we are doing here, there are better ways to do them. But for our foundational class, we are making sure that at least we are okay with putting items on the screen and then putting some few effects on them, at least for us to be happy for now. Okay, in our final project, the next thing that we want to do is this one. Let me show us on a large screen. The next thing that we want to do is this one. It's not here. Okay. Let me see. Okay. So the next thing that we want to do is let me show us on the large one like this. Oh no. Sorry about that. The next one that I want to look at what is the next thing that I want to do, the next section I want to do, so that I can know, because if I don't see it, I may not be able to know. So I believe you can see my screen now. Let me check. Yes, you can see my screen. Yes, you can see my screen. So I'm going to be scrolling down, and then we have already done this part. We have done this part, and I asked you to be creative about it. Don't do exactly, you don't have to do exactly this one. You can make it bigger instead of just jumping up. You can make yours to jump down. Try and change the values to achieve something different. So this is the next place that we are going to now. This part here, where we have the wristwatch, and then we have this text here, and then we have the button that says buy now. Okay, that's what we are going to be doing. And after we finish this one, if there's still time, we can look at these three segments, these three quotes, like testimonial section of the page. People that have bought our product and then they want to drop testimonial, you design something like this for them. Let's start with this one. Of course, you will notice that this is a div or a section. We can say section. Let's use section this time around so that you will not say section is useless. You still remember your semantic tags, right? Section. So we are going to be using section for this one. So section is the one that wraps them like this. Okay, so inside this section, we are going to be having two columns. How many columns can you see now? There is one column for this one, and then another column for the image. So we have two columns here called two, right? So anytime we want to have two columns on a row, we call it called two. Okay, so let's go to our file. I'm going to be going to my index.html file, and then I'll be going to the base of what I wrote before, which is latest product. Okay, so under latest product now, I'm going to be creating what I call, what is this one? It is smart band 4. Smart band. Okay, exclusive. Let me call it exclusive. Let me call the comment exclusive. Exclusive. So inside, in exclusive segment, I'm going to be having section like this, tag it, and then make sure the section has a class. It has a class of row. You remember we have already set our class of row to always have display of flex. Here, where is it? Here. So we have always set it that our row will always have this display of flex. Okay. So we have set our section to be a row now. Now we need our section to have, okay, let me come back to that one later. Inside this section, I want to have two columns there. So because I want to have two columns there, I'm going to name the column, each of them called 2. So I'm going to open up the section, and then, oh, you are not seeing my VS Code. Let me see. Sorry about that. So you should be able to see my VS Code now. All right. Now inside my sorry, I want to pick. Okay, good. So inside my section of row, section class of row, I want to have two columns there that will represent, one of them will represent the watch, the other one will represent the text that we have there. So I'm going to have div class of, the class of this one is going to be called call2. I call it call2 because it is one of the two columns that I want on the row. So eventually it's going to look like this. I just copied the first line, then I pasted on the second one, just like that. If I want to paste it again and copy, I've already copied it like that, then paste it by saying Ctrl+V. So Ctrl+V will be pasting it like that. I'm not interested. I want only two, like this. One will be for the watch, the other one will be for the text. Which one will be for the watch? Of course, is the first one, because the watch is on the left and then we write from left to right. So inside this call to, I'm going to be having the watch coming inside this place. How do I bring in the watch? I use the image tag, img. So I bring in my img again, I press tab, and I say / inside images folder, and then the name of this watch is, I think, exclusive.png. Yes, it's exclusive.png. I hope you are not confused the way I picked this exclusive.png. Please don't be confused. It is very, very important that you practice this thing and then face the challenges that you're supposed to face there, and then you master it once and for all. Alt. I've already told us the meaning of alt. Alt means a message that should show up in the UI if the image is unable to load, or if the browser cannot display the image. This alt message will load. So let me just say exclusive image, like that. Exclusive image. So I have put image in one of the columns. I also want to put in the second column now, I want to have other information. I'm going to copy this one, I'll put it there, then I will copy this one, I'll put it, then I will copy this one, then we'll now do this button. Now, I will not be typing it, I'll just be copying it like this. So I'm going to copy this one. What do you think this one will be? Which tag will we use for this one? Which tag are we going to use for this one? Which tag are we going to use for this one? Of course, you should be able to know now that. Are we supposed to be staring at the screen alone? Okay, no, I've already switched it. Okay, thank you. Your own screen is late. Okay. Okay, you by now you would have known that exclusive available on Lumia, this one will be a paragraph tag, while this one here will be a header tag because it is big. It's like the header. So maybe like H3, and then this one will be another paragraph tag here. So let me start with this one. I'm going to copy it. Then I will come to my to the second call to and put paragraph tag there with a dot to show me a class, so that I can create class for it like this automatically. So I'll just paste the text inside it like that. Then after that one, I need to do this one, right? Smart band 4. I'll copy it. Then at the end of paragraph, I want to put H3 there. H3 or H4, anyone is fine. Let me use H3. I did not put class here, so let me put class because I might have to style, or I will use inline style. Inline style will become messy very, very quickly. To become messy very quickly. Let me put class there like that. So inside the H3, let me paste the text there, smart band 4. Smart band 4. Okay. Then let me copy the last paragraph, which is this one. And then I will copy by pressing Ctrl C, and under the paragraph tag, let me put a dot to show class, and then I'm going to paste it inside of here. When I save it, I'm going to be having what you are looking at on the screen right now. It's going to be looking like this. So let's look at how it's looking on a big screen. This is how it's looking on you're not seeing the big screen. Oh. Okay. When you're practicing, please be sure to be checking the big screen once in a while, so that you can have an idea what changes is being made to your project. There are features of padding and margin that I'm supposed to be including, so that they can look exactly like what we are copying. But I'm not going to be bothering us with that one, at least for now. If you can find a way to put your items on the screen and position them very well, put them in a place that is at least a bit reasonable, for now, you are awesome. You are awesome that way. Now, let's move on to the next one. The next one is, we have a row here. We have call to here. We have call to here. We have not written anything for this call to. And because we have not said anything for this call to, it's going to still be, it's not going to work the way we want it. We want this wristwatch to be beside, we want it to be beside, let me show you how it is, so that we can, I can be communicating what. So I'm going to show you now. This one is the finished product, the finished design. So I'll be showing you now how our current project is. This is our current project, and we are going to the place where we just built now, which is underneath this. So this is where we are coming. You can see that the column, this one is taking the entire width of the something, even though we have used flex for row, but this one we have not set it should we have not set it to say, okay, the width you should take is just 50% of the width so that your partner too can take the remaining 50%. We have not discussed that, which is why it is taking the whole thing, and then this one too is taking the whole thing underneath it. Now we are going to go and change that now. That's what we are going to change right now. So let's go back to our code, and then let's have our VS Code back. Okay, now how do we set it to make sure that this wristwatch takes only 50% of whatever screen that is available? So I'm going to select the class of call2. Remember, it's a class. Whatever I write for call2, it will work for this div for image. It will also work for this div also for call2. So I'm going to go to my style.css, and then I'm going to write for call2 now. Let me come to where I put call4 so that it can be a reference point for you. You see call4 here, we set flex basis as 25%. That is what limits it from going beyond, from going above and beyond. So I'm going to select call2 also. Is it call -2 or call2 normally? It's call -2. So call -2 now. Call -2. Where is it? I put it here. No. No. Okay. Under the row, I'm going to have call -2, and then I will open the curly brace for it. Now, because it is call2, I'm expecting, normally I'm supposed to have flex basis of 50%, like this. 50% like this. If I do this, they are going to be beside each other. They are going to be beside each other on that large screen. But I would like space to be between them. I would like space to be between them, and that is why I will not like to use 50%. Remember, here, we were supposed to use 25%, but we reduce it to 22 to cater for the gap that we have put in the parent of row. This gap here. We said we want a gap there. So once if you do the calculation very well, you will see that if I do 50 plus 50 is 100%, which is complete. So there will be no space for this gap again. So to be able to create space for that gap, I will reduce this one to maybe 46%. I will reduce it to 46% like that as the flex basis, and then I will save it. And when I do save it, I will go back now and see how it is on the large screen. This small screen here cannot give us what we are looking for. So let me go to the large screen and see how it is doing. Okay, I'm going to refresh this so that I can see the current state of things. The current state of things has not changed. Why? I've already changed it to 47%, but it's still not changing. So here comes what we are now going to do. The last thing you are going to do here is this. Let's go back to our code. Now, you will now pick, let me pick up my VS Code, sorry. I'm controlling a lot of windows here so that you can be seeing those transitions that you are seeing on your screen like that. All right, now, the next thing that we want to set is that this image, although we have already set that the call2 will not go beyond 46%, but the image inside of it too must not go beyond the boundary. The image must stay within range. So the way you check that the image is inside call2 now, for example, the image is inside call2 here. So let's set the image to be able to let's constrain the image to the boundary of call2. How do I do that? I will pick the image that is inside call2. This image here is inside call2. You remember how we normally do that one? The image inside call2. I will come here and say, okay, I want to pick the image inside call2 will be call2 more than the image. Let me do that again. It will be call2 more than image to show that the image is inside, the image is a child of call2. Call2 is the parent of image. Then I will open the curly braces and set the width as 100%. This means the image cannot grow beyond the space we have given to call2. So the image cannot grow beyond the width that we are given to the parent. The parent is having the width of The parent is having the width of 46%. Where is it? Yes, here. The parent is having the width of 46% here. Like I told you, this flex basis is like width. How wide do you want the flex item to be? So if the parent is having the width of 46%, then we don't want this image to go beyond that. So the image should take 100% of that 46% and nothing more. So by the time I save it now, we should see something different on the screen. Okay, you won't see it on this one. Let me quickly check it on the let me check it on the large screen so that I can be sure that it is giving us exactly what we want. Okay, as we are seeing right now, we are seeing that the image is now on the left and then the text is already on the right. Okay, the next thing for us to do is to style this text for them to look a bit like what we are coming from, which is this one. For them to look a bit like this one. You will also still notice that this image, this watch is still too big. The image is still too big as compared with this one that is so small. So I'm going to be changing the width from 100% to maybe 70% so that we can still constrain the image a little bit more. This one is too big. So let me go to our code now. I've noticed what to change and then I'll be changing them momentarily. So let's go. Now, I've said the image is too big for call to. I don't want to use 100 again. Let me change it from 100 to something like 70%. I will save it and then it becomes this small. It becomes small like that. Okay? Another thing I want to do is I want to set the text for our smart band 4. I want it to become so big as it is big in our project, and I also want to affect the text of other all these paragraph text. I want to affect them the way they are looking. So let me go to where they are picked. They are picked. I'll pick them from here. So I can say, how can I pick this one? So let me just say class of call to P. I'll give the same class to this one because they're having the same text. So I'll say call to P here, call to P here, and then I'll pick this one by saying the H3 that is inside call to. You get? This is a class of call to here. Inside that div of class of call to, we have H3 there. So I'll pick that one by saying the H3 that is inside call to. So I'm going to go to style now and say I want to pick the H3 that is inside call to. H3 that is inside call to. Then I'll just open and set my font size to something like 50 pixels. Something like 50 pixels. And when I do that, you will see the change immediately. It has grown. It has grown bigger. Okay. Let me go to the other one, which is the P. I name it class of call to P. So I'll come here and say call to P. The class of call to P is call to P. Call to P. I will open the curly brace, and then what I want to change the color. The color here is not black. If you check it, you see that it is not black at all. It's not black. This one is black, but this one is not black. So because it is not black, I'm going to change it to something a bit lighter. So I'm going to have color of ash CCC. I will see how that one looks. This is how it's looking. It is too faint. It is too faint. So let me change it to 555 to come down a bit. Then it's looking like this now. So with this, I've been able to adjust the text. I've been able to adjust the text to a bit to look a bit like what we are seeing on the screen. But there's still one more thing to be done. If you check, you will see that this wristwatch is not at the center. It's supposed to be at the center here, somewhere here, but it is at the left corner, in that corner there, just staying there. How can I move it to the corner, to the center of this call to here? So let me create another class, because I don't want to, I will still be needing call to in other places of my project, and I don't want to change the definition of call to. If not, I would have just come here and write what will make it to come to the center here. but I don't want it to happen here. Let me write another class that will be able to add it to it, and then it will be able to merge the two styles together and apply them to the wristwatch. Let me come down and put, I'm just creating a class now. It is not in my HTML already. I just want to create it. So I'll call the name of the class something like centralize. Centralize, like this, centralize. And when you pick centralize, I want to remember it's any name that you want that you can use. I chose centralize because what I want to do inside this class is I want to use it to centralize anything I want to be doing. Okay, I want to pick anywhere I use this centralize. I want to use display or flex. Anywhere I want to use it. Apart from display or flex, two other things I'm going to add to it will make any item inside it to become centralized. That is, justify content to be center, and then align items to be center. As you begin to type align items, you will see the different options. I believe we have used this one before when I was teaching us flex. So if you forget it, this is a refresher for you. If I decentralize now, if I apply this class to any item, it's going to make things to stay at the center. So this wristwatch here will move to the center like this. Now, let me go and add this class, which is class centralize. I'm going to copy it so that I don't make mistake with this with the spelling. Centralize, copy it without the dot, and then I will go to this index.html. I want to apply it to the div, to the call to that is having the image, because I don't want it to happen to the other one. I only want it to apply to this one alone. So I will go to the call to handling the image, which is this one, and then I'm going to add another class to this one. Now, this is the first time in this training that we are seeing this one. Up until now, we have only been using only one class for every element. But now, it is possible for us to actually have many classes added to a single element. Like what I want to do now. I already have call to for image, which I used to position it the way it is. But I want to centralize it again, and I don't want to put those style inside call to. I put it inside another one, another class, and then I will now add that class here as centralized without the dot. Remember, without the dot is when you want to go and style it that you will use dot there, like this one, dot centralized. But here it will be just centralized. The reason why I don't want to put all the style for centralized inside call to is because if I put it, it's going to affect call to here also. And if I use call to inside my project again in other pages, it's going to affect them also. But as I've done it now, if in those places, if I don't need centralized there, I will just use call to alone, and then the thing will look the way it is. So if you check the screen now, you will see that the wristwatch has come now to the center. Okay, now the last thing for this particular segment is the color. If you check, you will see that it has this pink color and a white something at the middle. So that's what we are going to be doing now. Of course, we know that to be able to apply background color, we need to go and look for the wrapper. What is the wrapper for all these, for these two columns? What is their wrapper? The wrapper is, let me go and look for it. The wrapper is this section. Is the one that wraps the image and then the div for all the text. So what wraps them is this section. And if this section is wrapping them, I've already given it a class of row. Now, the same way, I don't want to affect my row by going to my style now and putting the background on the row, because I'll be using the row severally, and it's not all the rows that will have background color. So I'm going to create another class that I can use to add the background to this section. So let me create another class now. I will say pink gradient. Pink gradient. Pink gradient. Then I will open my curly brace. Pink hyphen gradient. Pink hyphen gradient. And then let me just add, let me go to my HTML, and I'm going to add it to the row class instead of just leaving row there. So I'm going to say pink hyphen gradient, like that. So I've already added it. So let me come back to style now, to style.css, and style my pink.gradient class. Number one, I want the background. I want to set the background, not the background color this time. I'll be using background. And the background I will be using is, we have linear gradient, we have radial gradient. The one that we are looking at here is radial because it's like circle. The pink is surrounding the white. So it's like circle. So background, I'll be using radial gradient. We have already done this one before, so it should not be a news to you at all. The first color I'll be putting there is white. This is the color code for white, #FFF. And then the second one I'll be using the pink. I think our pink is #FF523B. I'm not sure. If this one works, fine. If it does not work, another color that will be able to match what we want here. Okay, let me save it now so that we can see how it looks. Okay, this is how it's looking. It's definitely not the kind of pink that we want. It's not the kind of pink that we want. So let me change this FF523B to something else. FFD6D6. FFD6D6. I wrote them somewhere, so I just went there to just check. When you're dealing with colors, don't worry if you have to troubleshoot to find the one that will work fine. It's part of the job. So if you are seeing me picking it from my hair, it's because I wrote it somewhere and I'm just copying it from there. So if you too would like to save the number, to save the code so that you can use it in the future, please take up your pen and write it somewhere so that next time when you need it, it will be very, very easy for you to pick. I'll be saving it now, and then we should see the effect on the screen immediately, like that. Okay. Now we have, I think for now, I'm okay with this part. Although there is still things like margin, if I should be able to adjust the margin of this box, of this pink box, to space it from the top. So let me quickly go and do that. Let me add it to this pink gradient and say, pink gradient, give me margin on top. Margin top of let's say 50 pixels, so that it can come down. You can see that it has come down now from that one. Okay, and then I can say apply padding to it. I can apply padding and a lot of things. So please demonstrate it on your own, practicalize it, and make sure that you get something that is close to this one. The next thing I'm going to be adding is the button. This button here, we have already done it before. So if you were not there when we were doing it before, please go back there now. Go back to the video and watch it and practice it. I'm going to be copying what we did that time, and then I'm going to be pasting it here. We used it where? We used it here when we say explore now. So in my HTML code, I'll be looking for where I put this text, explore now. How will I get it? I'm going to type Ctrl F to show find, and then it will give me this box up here. So I'll just type the word I'm looking for. I'm looking for explore, and then it's going to lead me to where explore is, which is this button here. So I'll copy the button. I'll copy the button, and when I copy the button, I'm going back to where I want to use it now, which is under this P. I want the button to be there. Just that this time around, I don't want explore now inside it. I want buy now to be there. So instead of explore, I'm going to be changing it to buy, and then I will save. When I come to my project, I should be able to see that button right there looking at me and staring at me in the face like this, like that. Okay, so that settles our and see, if I bring my mouse on it, it is already having that over effect that we set that first time. So please, you can make your own better. You can make your own better, because we are doing this for training purposes. You can always have tweaks the values, the dimensions, and then you can always get something better than this. You can get something very close to what we have on as the final project. It is just awesome. It is awesome. All right. Now, after this one, the next part will be this comment section here. Let me see if I can just quickly do that. I was thinking I'll be able to add this one to you today, but obviously I cannot add this one. And this one is a bit easier. Okay, let me do this part today, so that tomorrow we can look at how to create this comment. This comment may take time. It has so many components. So let me go to this section where we have this brand logos, brand logo. I'm going to be putting them just before the footer also, because this part here is the footer. So I'm going to be talking about this one here. And so I'm going to call the comment of for this part brand section. Brand section. So because it's a brand section, I'm going to be using section to open it up. Section. Inside the section, all I want to do, let me give it a class, please. Let me give it a class of brands, just like that. And then inside the brands, inside the section of brands, I want to have how many images? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I want to have 5 images there. This one, because they are all having similar sizes, there may not be any need for me to be doing any kind of manipulation. So let me just drop the images inside here, and then we will now use flex to flex them. Okay, let's go. Image. I'll use image tag, and then the source is going to be ./images. This one is brand something. Let me see. Yes, logo Coca-Cola is the first one is Godrej. Godrej, the first one. I'll make the alt also Godrej. Then I'll copy and paste it, and then change the image to something else. Images / the moment you press / it will give you this option. If it's not giving you, press backspace to delete the / and then bring it up again. So logo, the next one is Oppo, like this. And then the alt is going to be the name of the something. Let me paste it here again and change the images / something. Logo, the next one is Coca-Cola. So let me squeeze this one in a bit. So the alt is going to be Coca-Cola. Okay, the next one is going to be PayPal. So if PayPal has supported your project and you want to put their logo there, just put / and come to logo PayPal. And the last one is going to be Philips. Let me change the alt of this one to PayPal. Like we said, alt will show up even when the images fail to show in some browsers, because before now there has been issues with the browsers. You guys are enjoying now. They have improved all the browsers that we now have, that they are not giving us issues like that again. So before now there used to be a lot of issues with browsers. So that was why alt became very important. So this one is going to be Philips. Now I'm going to save this thing now so that we can see how it's looking on the screen. Let's go to our project tab, and then I want to see how they look on the screen. They are looking like this now. Can you see their color? The color is looking bright and beautiful. But this is not what I want. If you check the project, it is dark. All of them, they are all dark until you put your cursor on them before the color now changes to their real color. How do we achieve that? From here, it's very easy. I'm going to show you in a moment, in a jiffy now. Watch me. Now, number one, we first want them not to have this color. We want them to have a kind of filter that we take their color away. So let's go and set it. I want to affect each of the images inside here. So the images are inside brand, the brands class. So let me come to style and say I want to affect the images inside the brands class. Images inside the brand class. So I'll pick the brands class, and then I want to affect the img tag that we have inside it. And when I do that, I'm going to say, give me a filter. We have something called filter in CSS. If you can apply filter, you know, most of you are ladies and you have been using, when you take picture, you apply filter on yourself so that it can change something. That's exactly what this one too does. It is a filter that you can use on anything on the screen. So you can say, give me a filter, and we have so many filters there. Let me write it again so that it can give you the option. If you click on this filter, you will have a lot of options. You have blur, you can blur it. You have brightness, you have drop shadow, you have a lot of options. But the one that I want to pick now is grayscale. grayscale, and you will put the value inside that parenthesis and say, give me grayscale of 100%. That means you want grayscale of 100% to be on each of the image that you now have. I'm going to save it now so that we can see how it looks on the screen. Saving, and then it looks like this immediately. Just that when I put my cursor over it now, it is not changing. So what did I say about how to, when you put your cursor over something and then it is changing, what did I say that state is? You said what? Okay, please don't forget again. If you have forgotten before, and if you remember, congratulations. It is called overstate. In the overstate is when you put your mouse over something, what you want to happen. You can use over to pick it. So now, when I put my cursor over any of the image, I want something to happen. I want this grayscale to go away. So I will say, let me pick .brands, the image inside of it, and then when I over the image now, when I over the image, that is it. When I over the image, you see the way I picked it? The brand class, the image inside of it, when I over the image inside, the image that is inside of brand class, that is how to interpret it. So I want something to happen. I want filter of grayscale to become 0% anytime I over on it. I want the filter of grayscale to be 0%. So I'm going to save it now. And so we'll see what will happen now. When I put my cursor on this one, you see? When I put on this one, it changes to its color. It changes to its real color. It changes to its real color. And it changes to its real color. Now you see that the way it's changing too sharp. I don't want it to be too sharp. I want it to transition from the color, from the original color to the new color. I don't want it to be too sharp like that. So to be able to achieve that, number one, I'm going to change the cursor to pointer inside here. I'm going to say cursor pointer, so that it can point like a hand. It will point like a hand. When I save it now, I've saved it now. You can see that it's pointing like a hand now. That is pointer, to show that there is something happening around here. Like this button too now should have cursor pointer, because it is a button that you can click and do something. So anytime you can click and do something, you change the cursor to something like pointer, like a hand, so that they will know, user will know that, okay, there's something to be clicked right here. Although this one is not it's not clicking anything, but there's an effect that I put here, and I would like the user to see it. So that's why I'm putting cursor pointer. The next thing I want to do is to add transition. This transition, I've already used it before, but I'm using it again this evening now so that you can master it very well. So please, if you missed it the last time, learn it very well now. There are two ways, there are two positions. We first of all have an element here. Then we say, when we over, we want something to change. So we want to affect something that will change. That thing that will change is what we are actually transitioning. So to be able to do that, I will go back to the original place where it was defined before we go to the overstate, and then I'll be using the word transition. As you type transition, you are going to have you can actually put three options there. Three options. Number one, whatever it is that you want to transition. In this case, I want to transition the filter. And if there are plenty, you can transition all. But for now, let me transition the filter. What's the duration that you want for the filter, for the transition to happen? Normally, 0.5 seconds is always enough. 0.5 seconds is always enough, like this. And then you choose the behavior that you want, that is in out. If you don't remember the way to spell it, once you begin to type is, it will give you this option, and then you just choose is in out, like that. When I save it now, you won't see anything on the screen, but when you bring your mouse, you will see that it will change. Let me change the time from 0.5 to 2 seconds. 2 seconds. You see that it will change. It will take a while for it to change from the original to the final. So let's go there. 2 seconds. 2 seconds. 2 seconds. 2 seconds. 2 seconds. Can you see now? The way as you are moving, the color is taking a while to come up, and then it's taking a while to go away also. So that is 2 seconds. So normally I will leave it at 0.5 seconds. But if you are designing yours, please use any time that makes you happy, any time that makes you feel comfortable. If you like, put 100 seconds there. It's your show. All right. Let me see if we have question already in the chat. Any question for me? No question. That means we are understanding it very well. All right. So if there's no question, I will be moving towards our quiz place now. We have 20 questions set already. 20 questions set already. And hopefully, let me check if Slido will be will not mess us up today. I don't know. I don't know if it will not mess us up today. And you guys said you didn't want the one of yesterday, which was why I had to go back to Slido today to set our questions there. So let's hope it will open up. If it does open up, we are going to be having our quiz. And if it does not open up, we will just continue with our comments, the comment section of the page. I'm still trying to open, and it's doing one, it's giving me one signal that it's not going to work this evening. It's giving me a signal, it's a bad signal that it's not going to work this evening. I'm using another browser now to see if the problem is with a browser. If the problem is with the browser, then we are still good to go this evening. Hopefully we can be able to have the same thing. The same thing. Oh boy. Okay. All right. So since we, and I didn't have it in that other one, is a pity. Oh God. All right. Okay. Oh, this is so embarrassing. All right, no problem. That means I will not be going to this Slido again to do anything. I will not be going there to set our questions again. Please, let's manage. I'll be saying the answers to us in that other one, and I will have to combine the answers for today, the questions for today now, with the questions for tomorrow. Let me show you the screen so that you can know what I'm saying, so that you can see what I'm saying and know that it's not actually opening. Let's go to browser, and then you see now it's not opening. It's not opening. Stop and refresh again. It's not opening. It's not opening. So they normally do this. I don't like their platform. I don't like it. That's why I use I found out that one. So please, maybe we'll continue to use that other one as from tomorrow. This mess up is too much. In this training, they have messed up like 3 or 4 times already, plus today's own, like 4 times. So I would not like to face this kind of thing again. So please bear with me. Thank you so much. As you can see now, the screen is not. As you can see, the screen is not. So if that means I still have some time to do the other part, which is this comment part here. This comment part. So let me do this comment part, and then we can call it a day today. Let me try and do this comment part. To do this comment part, you will notice that these boxes have spaces to the left. They have spaces to the right also. What can I use to create that space there? What? You will notice that they also have space to the top, and they have space to the top here. I mean to the bottom. So what did they use to create? What can I use to create their space? The space from here to here, the space from here to here. So what I can do is this. I can have like a div that will have these 3. Then the div, I'm going to set margin there, or padding. I can use padding. Yes, the div will be this white one from here like this down to this place, and then come like this on top of this brand logo, and then come up again like this. I'm now going to set padding inside it. Padding will happen inside a particular wrapper, a particular div, a particular section or whatever. Any div that you have, you can, if you apply padding to it, it's going to take the space from within that particular object. But if you use margin, margin will take outside of that object, of that particular wrapper or wall or border or container. This is what I'm saying. Let's go to our VS Code. We are already there, right? Let's go to, let me show you our small browser like so. Okay, like that. Let me close this one. Okay, now this is what I want to achieve. I want to do 3 for us. I want to do this 3. This, you will notice that the way it is showing here is different from the way it is showing here is different from the way it is showing. The way it is showing here is different from the way it is showing. You're not seeing what is being done. You should be able to see it now. Are you able to see are you able to see my screen now? Anybody? There's no timestamp in this message. I don't know when it was sent. Probably a while ago or a moment ago. Please, can anybody see my screen now? Please let me know if you can see my screen. If you are seeing my cursor, I'm showing the testimonial section of the screen. That's what I'm showing now. I'm showing the testimonial section, and I want to be sure that you guys can see the screen exactly as I'm showing it. Okay, I want to quickly do the testimonial to allow us to know how to be able to create that. We notice that what is showing now is a bit different from the way it's showing on a large screen. That is what we call, okay, thank you so much. You are able to see it now. That is what we call, that's what we call responsiveness. Responsiveness means as the screen of your laptop or screen, as the screen that you are watching your web application on is changing, you want to readjust your items so that it will look well on all screen sizes. You know, we have different screen sizes. We have our mobile phones, we have tabs, which is tablet. Tablet is wider than normal mobile phone. Then we have some laptops that are so small, we call them mini laptops. Then we have notebook computers. Then we have normal laptop. Then we have some large screen that people are using like TV that they can use to still view your web application. So making your item to rearrange so that they can fit in well on each of these screens. Okay. So making your items to rearrange is what we now call responsiveness. But we are not doing responsiveness now at all. If you are comfortable placing all these items on your web page and arranging them for now, doing that responsiveness will be another, it will be easier. Once you use all these techniques that we are talking about now, you use grid to arrange your items, then to be able to handle responsiveness will not be a difficult matter at all. Now, let's not go off course. What we are trying to do is this testimonial section. The first part of the testimonial is this quote. But before I do this quote, let's talk about the wrapper here. So let me go back to my index.html code. Before the brand section is where I'm having the testimonial. So let me come here and create a comment and say testimonial. Under this testimonial comment, I'm going to be having is it a div now, a section? Anyone? Let me use section with a class of testimonial. Okay, a div of a class of testimonial. Inside it, I'm going to be having 3 divs. But let me first of all do one, then I can copy that one and duplicate it, or for the remaining 2. So I'm going to be creating one div like this. Now, this div that I have here will represent one of the testimonials. Inside it, I have some things inside that must go on, under each other. The first one is this quote here. This quote, how will I get it? How? You would have guessed that they did not type this one. They got it from somewhere like icon. And I've already showed you how to get things from, how to get icons from the internet. Let me quickly refresh your memory now. Let let's go to our internet and do. There are two ways. I showed you one. I said you just type HTML Unicode, press enter on Google, and then you will pick this second one, this top tile. You pick it, and then when you pick it, you have a page where you have some icons there that you can actually copy their HTML code, like this one. You can copy their HTML code and you can use it in your work, and then it will work. It will give you that sign, to give you this arrow sign. If I copy this one, it will give me arrow that looks like this, and so on and so forth. These are the currencies that we have like that. This is one. I also mentioned that we have what we call Font Awesome. There's a place we call Font Awesome that you can go to and get your icons. So you type font and then awesome, press enter. Type Font Awesome, press enter, and click on this first one. And when you click on this first one, you will go to it will lead you to the home page of Font Awesome organization, which is a website that creates all these fonts for us. If you have forgotten how to get your own kit, which is how to register, you can watch the video that I did where I talk about Font Awesome. Okay, now that you have already, by now you must have already registered. You just want an icon now. So you click on these icons here. Click on icons. And when you click on these icons, it will give you this box here for you to search. What I'm searching for is, I want to search for quotes. Whatever it is that you want, you can search. For example, if I want this crown now, I can come here and say crown. Let me say crown, press enter, and then it brings me some crowns that it can find. If you can find some, yes, you can find some. All these pro, you cannot use them unless you pay. But the one that does not have pro on it, like this one, you can use this one, and it is okay enough. But if you don't like it, of course, by all means, you can pay them money so that you can use all these other ones. So, but crown is not where I'm going to. It's where I'm going to is quote, something that look like what we are seeing in our final project, which is this one. That's what I'm looking for, something that look like that. And I'm already seeing some things here that look like that. This quote left. Quote left is here. Is it that? Yes, exactly. Quote left is what I'm going to be using, because and it does not have pro on it, and it looks exactly like that one. So I'm going to click on it, and then it's going to show for me like that. And when it shows for me like that, all I have to do is to click on this line, and then it will copy it. It will tell me copy it. Copy it. And after it has copied it, I will go back. I don't need this site again. I'll go back to my VS Code, and then I'll be ready to paste it somewhere there. Okay. Let me reset this one to this one. Okay. I want to paste it inside this div of test, the div that we're talking about, which is the first div now. So let me put something here. First testimonial. First testimonial. Okay. So inside this div of first testimonial, the first item there is the quote. By the time I save it, it should show up on my screen on my project tab, like, please wait for it. Okay. It should show up somehow like this one. You can see it somewhere here now. Okay. Let me give this this is a class of testimonial. Okay. Now, apart from this FA quote, apart from this quote, what else do I have there? I have this paragraph text there. So I'm going to be it is lorem. I've already told you how to get lorem text. So I will just come here and say paragraph tag, and I want to put lorem text here, which is like a dummy text. Just type lorem and press enter. It will give you something like that. Type lorem, and when that thing shows, press enter like that. So when you check your project, you'll be able to see that lorem there also, like that. So we have the quote here, we have the quote, and then we have the lorem here. After the lorem, the next thing is this star here. These 5 stars, we have already done them before. So I'm going to go into my project and find out where I used them before, and just copy them and paste them right here. So I'm going to press Ctrl F so that I will not just be looking for where it is in my project. Control F will open this box up top for me, and I can do a search for, I think I will use star there. So you can see stars here. There are stars, and then if I open up the star, I have this one here. So I'm going to copy this div containing the stars, and then I will go back to where I'm coming from, which is down below under this div under this P of lorem ipsum. I'm going to be pasting the div right here to represent the stars. All right, let me see how it looks like on the screen right now. This is how it is looking like on the screen right now. So I have the quote, I have the text, lorem ipsum text, I have the stars, and then what next? I need this image and I need the name. For the image, of course, I'll come here. Let me put the image inside a div so that I will be able to use that div to control it. So I'll come here and say img for image. The source is going to be /images /user user1.png, and the alt is going to be user1, like that. Okay, so that's the div for the images. Now, if I save it, I should be able to see the image right here now. So this is the image now. I'm going to style it to make it look like this one, small and round, instead of this big and rectangular. I'm going to style it, so please peel your eyes very well. Now, the last thing I'm going to be adding is this name. The name is not going to be a paragraph. Let me use H3 for this one, or H2. Anyone is fine. So under this div, I'm going to be adding H3 or H2. It's fine. We are still going to have to control the size. So inside it, I'm going to have the name. The first name is Alex Ferguson. Alex Ferguson. Okay. When I save it, I'm going to be having something like, it's coming up. It's coming. So we're going to be having the name under that one. Now, let's begin to style now. The first thing we will notice is that the color of this quote is not black. Now, right now, our own color is black. So the color is not black. The color is this color. So let's change the color of this quote. Where is it? It's here. So I can just change the color now by picking this class and go and affect it there. Or I use inline styling. But let me pick FA quotes left. I'll pick this class name. You remember it is a class name. So I can pick it and I can go to my CSS and style it by saying dot, then the name that I just copied now. And then when I do that, because it's a font, I want to change the color to #FF523B, which is a color, the color theme for this project. So that is it there. You will notice that it has changed. I also want Alex Ferguson also to change to that same color. I'll go to my HTML and look at how can I select Alex Ferguson. Alex Ferguson can be selected by saying the section is testimonial. So inside testimonial, we now have a div. No. Okay, let me just say because. Let me put something here. Let me put something inside this div. Let me say testy. So that I can pick this testy and H3. So I can say testy that is having H3 inside of it. We also have color of #FF523B. I'll save it, and then the color of Alex Ferguson should change, and it's not changing. So if it's not changing, we have to go and look at why is it not changing. So let's go back to index.html. We have H3 here. H3 is inside. Okay, there is another div here. There's another div here. Actually, this image should not be inside that of, let me cut these ones out. I'll put them inside the div for the stars now. But they're not supposed to be inside the star. They're supposed to be inside. They're supposed to be outside the stars. So I'll cut them out. This is the div for the stars. So underneath the div for the stars is where we now have these three. Okay, it should work now. It should work now. So it is working now because I moved it out. As I moved it out, it can now know that, okay, it is true, testy is a div, and inside that div you will find h3 there inside that div. Now, what else am I going to do? You will also notice that the text, everything here is centrally aligned. They are centrally aligned. This one is at the center, this one is at the center, at the center, at the center, everything. So let's just come here and say our testimonial. Let's control it with our testimonial and say testimonial, everything in testimonial, the text there should be testimonial. You say text align should be center, like that. Let's save it and let's see what is happening to the project. And then we are beginning to have something that look like this. Let's look at the image here and attempt to set it to look as small as this and as round as that. To be able to achieve that full round, I will set the width and height to the same value and I will apply border radius. So the image, let me go to where the image is. How will I be able to pick to pick the image? I will say let me use inline styling here. Style. Okay, let me use the image here. Let me go to the image and create a class. I use style here too. Style, inline styling here. I can say the width is going to be just 100 pixel, and then the height is going to be just 100 pixel also. Just 100 pixels. Remember to put your px at the end, and when I save that, the size should be able to be smaller than it is right now. So the size has become smaller, and then what I need now is to now make it round. To make it round, so I will come here and say we use border radius for that round part. Border radius for the round part. So I will say border radius. Remember to type border, it gives you this option. You select border radius and then you now say 100% because you want complete round. Complete round, then it will look like this now. If it is too big, you can change the value from 100 to maybe 70 pixels, and then you change the width also to 70 pixels. Then it will become something smaller than what you are seeing before. You can see now with border radius of 100%, you have been able to achieve that. Remember, your width and height should be the same value if you want a perfect circle to happen on the screen. What else are we going to change? The background of this thing is white. Yes, the background of this one too is white, but we are not seeing it like that right now. Why? Because there is a shadow here that is making this thing to happen this way. So the last thing I'm going to be applying to this one is shadow. But before then, let me apply shadow to the div of texty, which is the div that is inside it. Each of the div, which is texty now. So let's come to style and pick texty. Texty itself dot texty. I want to write shadow for texty, and this is how we write shadow. This is how you create shadow. You can see there's a shadow there. So I hope you are seeing. I hope you are seeing the shadow. There's a shadow at the edge of this box. So this is how ours is looking right now. It's not looking like it has shadow. So we are going to be saying for texty, let's have box shadow. When you begin to type box, you have all these options, and then you choose box shadow. Now, box shadow can take, what is it taking? Okay, but box shadow can have 4 different values with the color at the end, making 5. 4 values of measurement with the color at the end, making, the color is optional. If you don't select the color, it's going to use any color it wants. I mean, it's going to use black. But these figures that you are putting there specify how the shadow will look. For example, let me say 2 here. 2 pixel, 2 pixel, 10 pixel, and 2 pixel. 2 pixel, 2 pixel, 10 pixel, 2 pixel. The first one is vertical. The next one is horizontal. This one is feathering. That is how the shadow will. Please experiment with these values, and then you will come up with something. So let me put a color here. If I put this color here now, that will be the color for the shadow. When I save it, and you can see what you are seeing on the screen. for it to be able to be, let there be a separation between this one and the one on top, I'm going to apply margin top to testimonial, which is the wrapper for all of them. Margin top of 50 pixels. Let me not be top. Margin top and bottom. Margin top and bottom. So I will have margin like that, and then you are going to see it like this. Can you see this something here? That is shadow, and it's making the white to come out well. If I take the shadow away now, come and see what we have. You see, it's not looking like there is something there. But by the time I open it again, and then you begin to have something like this, it's looking like there's a paper there that you can actually hold, giving it that 3D effect that is needed. Now, I want padding inside this box. I want padding inside it so that this text will not be touching the edge and touching the edge and touching the top there. So inside this box here is testy, and then I want to put padding there. Padding all around. Let's give us padding of 20 pixels all around, and then it's going to look like this for me. All right, now it's time for me to go and duplicate my testy now. One. So under this one, I will have second testimonial, and then I'll paste it there. Then I'm going to create the third one now. I'm almost done. Don't worry. The third testimonial, and then I will paste it there. So when I save it on the screen, here is what I'm going to have. It's going to look like this. But I want the images to be different. So I'll just come here. This is the third one, right? This is the third one. Change this user 1 to user 3. And then you go up. The alt 2 must change to user 3. Go up. Says the second testimonial. The user, change it to user 2. And then the alt also will change to user 2. And then by the time I save it, I'm going to have 3 different images there on my screen, just like this one. Okay, let's see how it is looking on the large screen. Let's see how it is looking on the large screen. Is my screen showing? I think so. I think it's showing, right? Is my screen still okay? It's still showing. I'm seeing that it's still showing now. Okay, so I'm going to be, which one is it showing? Okay. All right. So I'm going to be going to that big browser now so that we can see how it's looking on the big screen. Let me refresh it, and then we can see how it's looking now. But something is happening. We want this on the large screen. We want each of these things to stay beside each other like this one, to stay beside each other like this. That means their container must be flex, right? Right now the container is not flex. They are just staying on top of each other. So I will go to their container, which is testimonial. Testimonial is the container of each of the testy. So I'll go to the style.css and say testimonial, display testimonial as flex, display it as flex, and then put gap between them, put gap of 10 pixels between them. When I save it, this is what I have on the screen. When I save it, this is what I have on the screen. This is what I have done. For those who are still wondering, that's what I've done there. I've put display of flex to testimonial, and then I have made the gap to be 10 pixels. So when you have that, this is what you are now having now. And if the gap is not enough, let's increase the gap from 10 pixels to 20 pixels. From 10 pixels to 20 pixels. When I save it, this is what you are having now. This is what your gap of 20 pixels. Assuming you don't want this color for the shadow, if you want a different color for the shadow, you will come back to your VS Code, and then you go back to where you do the shadow, which is inside testy here. And instead of using this color, you may use, let's say you want to use but if you use black, it will not be too nice. You want to use a fraction of black that is not too black. This one is too black. So there's a way we normally pick it that it will be it will be a fraction of white, a fraction of the color. So let me not go into that one today so that it will not stress us. But let me just leave it the way it was. We can look at how to pick a fraction of a color in subsequent trainings, so that we can be able to master that one. Okay, I think today we have covered a reasonable amount of stuff, and since there is no more question in the chat, this is a very convenient place to draw the curtain over today's class. On behalf of everyone that has supported us, I want to thank you for joining us today. So until next time when we see, which is tomorrow by 4 p.m. same time, same station, I remain yours sincerely. Damilare is my name, and I remain your favorite host. Until then, have a wonderful night rest. Please don't forget, we are going to have our quiz tomorrow. Slido messed up today. We are going to be using the other platform tomorrow with combined questions. So please come prepared. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful night rest. Bye-bye.